just nothing too terribly impressive about this location right now. All right, hello everybody. I am on the Gulf Coast of Florida today. This is about 5 hours from where I live in Georgia. And I'm doing a little bit of work while I'm down here. Also trying to relax just for a few days because the whole holiday season has been kind of busy and crazy for me. So we were eating in a restaurant and I asked one of the locals if she knew of any kind of pretty place to photograph. And so I heard about this place with some lily pads, a small little bridge that might have a view of sunset. So I'm going on almost no plan today. I am using my Photo Pills app on my iPhone, which I'll do a review of later. But on this Photo Pills app, let me pull it up as we're walking here. It tells you in the augmented reality section, let me go there real quick. It tells you where the sun is gonna set. So let me kind of show you. If you point up, it'll kind of show you as you turn the phone with the camera. It shows you at what time the sun, you know, the position of the sun, where it will set, where the moon will rise, all that stuff. And today I'm just trying to get one photo out of it. I'm also going to try to do a long exposure if there's some water there. So I'll quickly run over a tip on how to use the filter with a long exposure, and also take a separate exposure without the filter so that you can get sharp trees and foreground elements without any kind of wind blowing it around. But yeah, on the for the Gulf Coast of Florida right now, it is in the 40s, so I am freezing. And back home where I live in Georgia, we just got 12 inches of snow. So at least it's not as cold as it is back home, but it's still pretty darn cold here. So luckily I did bring some warmer clothes. And so yeah, I'm just gonna go to the bridge and hope that sunset is provides something kind of special, and hopefully this ends up being a really unique spot. Again, if I get one photo, I'm a happy man. So let's see what happens. All right, so I'm here set up on the bridge that lady told me about today at lunch, and it's a, I don't know, maybe a 2-star out of a 5-star location. The lily pads, here, let me show you in front of me. The lily pads are all kind of cool, but there's not really much of a foreground, so I'm kind of using this little curve here, and the sun is hitting some nice light on the background, but there's just nothing too terribly impressive about this location right now. So I'm trying to just trying to stir up my creative juices in a blender right now and see if I can pull off something. Because I drove a while to get here, which is, you know, it's been a fun day, but that's always kind of the flaw with asking locals sometimes. Sometimes you get really amazing spots, and sometimes, you know, locations are just really cool to look at but not so cool to photograph. So we'll see what I can do. All right, so I just broke out the Firecrest 10-stop ND filter that I have right here. I already have a circular polarizer in my Firecrest filter holder. About to pop in the 10-stop. I think with the brackets that I took just a minute ago, that I can get the detail in the lily pads in the foreground, and then I'm gonna soften the water that's out there with the ND filter. It's gonna be kind of a weird shot, so let me quickly explain it to you before my light goes away. Okay, so what I'm doing is, because this is a bay, this isn't the ocean, right now I'm in this little like inlet, and the lily pads are very still water, so I don't really need to soften those. The lily pads are very still, everything's good. But outside of this little inlet that I'm in this little waterway, it's really windy, so the water is really choppy. So it looks a little weird that I have these nice, calm, you know, soothing lily pads, this choppy water out there. So I took my exposures for the best of the lily pads. So I got that exposure in the bag already done. for the lily pads in the foreground. I also think I have the exposure for the golden light hitting the trees in the background. I'm still waiting for color in the sky. That's going to be a separate exposure. But right now, the only reason I'm breaking this out is simply to smooth the water, to have an exposure when I get back in post-production, to have an exposure where the water out there is smooth instead of all choppy. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to pop this in just for the sake of smoothing the water, and we'll see what happens. That way I have that for Photoshop, so I can take my Wacom tablet, brush in the smooth water later, and at least I have that right now. And then we'll sort out the color later. Alright, so at ISO 200 on the Fujifilm X-T2, that gave me, the 10-stop filter gave me an 18-second exposure. I'm at f10, ISO 200, 18-second exposure with the filter, and that's with almost no light. It's about 4 minutes until official sunset. So we're running that 18-second exposure. I just got to look at it. It looks okay. I'm going to take another one in a second here. I think it's a little bit underexposed, so I'll sort that out in a second. The light right now is getting way better in the sky. Unfortunately, there's no clouds. Today just wasn't really good conditions for a photo, unfortunately. It was really cold, really windy, not many clouds. I couldn't really find a location that I liked. This one is okay. So I'm hoping I can make it work into a photo. You never really know until you get it back in the computer and take a look at it. So I'm just going to remain positive, and I keep looking both ways to make sure people aren't walking on this bridge, because it's kind of a long, wobbly bridge. So I'm trying to just stay completely still since I have an 18-second exposure running. Because if you do any kind of walking on this bridge and the tripod shifts just a little bit, it's going to be a blurry photo. So I'm trying to time these things when there's people not coming. So yeah, it's just a waiting game right now. It's getting colder by the second here. Like insanely cold. Yeah, so let's even that one's a little too underexposed. I'm gonna overexpose this by 2 stops. Actually, let's do this. Okay, so I just overexposed it by a stop, so that's gonna be double the time of 18 seconds now, because I just took it overexposed by a stop. Sorry, it's a crazy bird that just flew by. I'm not quite sure what kind of bird it was. Sorry, that distracted me. Just flew like right over the bridge where I'm standing. So yeah, it's just a waiting game. I'm just out here by myself. It's really cold. And we'll see what I can come up with. Alright, so here's one little nice tip about the Firecrest filter kit. This is the filter holder here. It's got my 10-stop ND filter. If you turn it on the back, there's that little indentation for the circular polarizer to go in. And it's actually on my lens right now. I'll let you take a look. So there it is on my camera. So the nice thing about this filter holder kit compared to a few other ones that I've used is that I can put the circular polarizer on my lens and then put the filter holder over that. And then when I'm done with my long exposures, I just remove the whole filter holder with the ND filter in it, instead of having to risk bumping my composition since I blend my photos. It's, you know, because sometimes with these filter holders you can try to pull the glass out and you kind of move the composition just a little bit. So I can just take the whole filter holder off, which is really easy, and leave the circular polarizer on, because I still want polarization right now to take that glare off the water. So the nice part is, it just there's a little indentation in the back so that you can just slip it right over the polarizer itself. I know a lot of the companies, the polarizer has to go over, like on the outside of this filter. So yeah, that's just a cool little quick tip about the Firecrest filter holder while this is taking the last exposures of the color here. And I'm about to wrap it up. I didn't get anything spectacular. I wouldn't suspect this to be a 5-star image, but it's definitely going to be a worthy image, I would think. It's definitely interesting. The lily pads are kind of what caught me, so I'm hoping it'll be something worthwhile for this trip. As always, It's so nice talking to all of you, and doing this is just super fun. So I'm going to go enjoy the rest of the night without carrying around the video camera here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. If you would like to stay up to date on all of my photography videos and free tutorials, please consider subscribing by clicking on my face. And if you would like to find out more about me and how to improve your photography, visit my website at findingmiddleearth.com.